Police Jury Association of Louisiana, we promote and protect the interests of local governments throughout Louisiana, and we advocate on their behalf during legislative session, even on the federal level. Infrastructure is very important in Louisiana. Of course, we all know that economic development a lot of times looks at what the infrastructure looks like in a certain state. And so we as parish governing authorities are working hand in hand to make sure that we build the right infrastructure, specifically bridges. We have a lot of issues with our bridge systems, and the state has been very helpful with us. And I mean, it's all about infrastructure. At the end of the day, if we can't get people from point A to point B, we're just wasting our time.
Infrastructure is always going to be a very important issue for the Police Jury Association. Infrastructure is so important to get new businesses to come in, new people to come in to live here, and with our growing transportation needs, it's just always going to be a very vital thing for Police Jury Association to keep an eye on, to focus on, and to put our efforts and energy into.
How does it impact your area of the state?
We have a lot of roads, rural roads in our parish, Vernon Parish, and we're a very rural parish, so infrastructure is very important. And like I said, drawing people to our area and drawing people, especially with the military base we have, infrastructure is always going to be a very big role in our parish.
We're kind of like everybody else. We have a lot of bridges in Tangipahoa Parish, and so we've been working very hard on the IIJA money to make sure we can get it, but obviously any help from the state would be beneficial too. And then we have some intersections off the interstate where we've had super growth in the area, and the exchange at the interstates are a little rough for the folks who get off at the end of the day, early in the morning. So we have a few things that we've been working with DOTD and the feds on to make sure that we can improve it for our citizens.
Our infrastructures, we're doing expansion of our water and sewer services systems in Bossier Parish. We built a very large, with the help of the state and some grants, a very large sewer processing plant, and we've been consolidating systems into ours. Roads in particular are a big item. Of course, the state takes care of theirs, but we have a lot of growth in Bossier Parish. We're the largest, fastest growing parish north of I-10, and so we have a pressure and need for more local roads, so we're having to do that. That's our need. Of course, that's through parts of Louisiana. That's a big thing too. Obviously, road repair is a big item. So.
The infrastructure needs in Louisiana are great, and we know that this is an opportunity for us to come together collectively to address some of those needs. We understand that infrastructure improves job creation for one, and that's number one in my book, because we want to make sure that we're doing everything to improve the quality of life for our citizens. And we know that we get a lot of complaints about our roads here in Louisiana with potholes, damages to your car, but it's so much bigger than that. And so we're looking at ways that we can close that gap through providing a sustainable solution.
With all the things that are going on right now in the state with data centers and with solar projects and those kinds of things, I think having the electrical infrastructure, the transmission lines, those kinds of things, and from an economic standpoint, in our parish, roads are always one of the things. Having the right roads to the interstate so that commerce can travel freely.
The infrastructure needs in St. John the Baptist Parish are centered around flood protection. Of course, we need water and wastewater infrastructure upgrades as well, and we're working on those. And then, of course, there's always a need for road improvements as well.
Tell us, how critical is the situation as your parish, among others, have recovered from damaging storms?
I think it's very critical, especially flood protection. We know that we are vulnerable to storm surge and just regular rainy events where we can flood, so it's very critical.
We started hearing from residents a few years back about just cost of insurance in general, auto insurance, homeowners insurance, flood insurance. And it's not really a local thing that we can deal with. It's not really a local responsibility, but those are the people that we represent. Then we started getting, parish governing authorities started getting their renewal bills and cost, and insurance has just skyrocketed extremely high in Louisiana. And we're going to work with the commissioner of insurance and the legislature to see if we can maybe get some more companies to come in and write some of this insurance for us, because we're really feeling the pressures of it, and the cost have gone up tremendously.
We all know cost of insurance is so high, and it's been rising lately over the last few years, and our association has been working tirelessly trying to prevent the insurance rates from going up any higher. Risk rating 2.0 by FEMA, we fought it, and we fought all kind of insurance rate increase, and we will continue through our efforts with the capital to fight those rising costs.
It affects everybody. Insurance premiums, it's any homeowner, whether you've got kids and what have you, it's a huge cost for our constituents, as well as flood insurance. Just the day-to-day activity, the insurance affects us all. It affects your monthly income.
We just looked at our budget for insurance costs increasing in Ascension Parish, and some of them went up significantly. And it's not just the admin and the parish costs that are going up, homeowners are going up. Mine personally went up 30%, and I've never had a claim. So I'm paying over $30,000 a year in insurance, and that's more than what a lot of people make. So it's impacting people whether or not they can afford a home, because they may can afford the principal and interest, but not the cost of the insurance, and it puts them out of the housing market.
I was in the insurance business, and I really didn't like the insurance as much as it going up. And I hear that they're even going up 22% in California, where they just had all the fires. Insurance going up in Louisiana is very high. We need more competition. Definitely need more competition to keep the insurance down and everything in Calcasieu.
I live on the south I-10, and our insurance rates are really too high. So any help we can get, it definitely it'll help a lot of people out. And also, the cost of insurance drives people away. We need low costs for homeowners to better afford their houses, and insurance is detrimental to a new homeowner.
The high cost of insurance, it has made a deficit in many households. It is a challenge for some homeowners to even get insurance at the cost that it is right now. Louisiana has the highest insurance in the nation, and we know that we definitely must address that.
With the cost of this insurance going up, I mean, it's just getting ridiculously out of hand. From what I'm seeing is more people in my area are starting to attempt to self-insure. Unfortunately, that could ultimately be a very, very bad thing as time goes on. We have a major catastrophe, and all these folks that are self-insured and haven't taken a proper position or saved their money properly to self-insure. It could be a disaster. The rising costs is just astronomical, and I don't see any balance coming into that. We really need that to happen.
Well, everything is so expensive as far as insurance. When you have health insurance that you got to pay for, you have an unhealthy workforce, it can cause it to be enormous. So right now, we're pretty good right now with that, because some of the patients we had heart problems and other problems that caused our insurance rates to go high. In the area of the flooding, our insurance rates on our buildings and our vehicles and stuff are high as well right now, and we're trying to cut that cost any way we can. A lot of our vehicles right now we're leasing right now to help cut that cost a little bit, and they have a package deal with that where we get the insurance and all that included, which helps a lot. Dealing with the roads and all these other things that we got to deal, all the other equipments and stuff we have to deal with, it's costing us a lot right now. So we're trying to fight that deal there the best we can.
High cost of insurance is really harming the entire region as premiums increase, whether it be flood insurance or homeowners insurance. People are being forced to make critical decisions on whether they can even afford to stay in their homes. So this is really a hot topic that's being discussed at the convention, and I think the conversation is being had really all corners of the state.
Insurance is critical to what's going on in Iberia Parish and throughout the state. The insurance cost is absolutely ridiculous. I actually have homeowners that own $100,000 houses that's paying $11,000 and $12,000 per year for house insurance, for home insurance. We, the parish government, we're making it work because we have funds, but we have people that live in the state that don't have the funds to make that work. So when I ask the question about how can we help as parish presidents and council members to the commissioner. I was simply trying to find out what could we do really to get you to understand, and he understands, so we have a good insurance commissioner, to get them to understand that we are here willing to work and help them.
Insurance crisis is the crisis of the state. It is the one that impacts every single person in this room. It impacts every single business in this room. Whether you're a private business, whether you're a municipality, you still have to have insurance. And right now in Louisiana, it's unaffordable for so many people, for so many businesses. And as your commissioner, when I came on board January 8th of last year, we hit the ground running. Actually, before that, I was a commissioner-elect in August of 2023. August 15th, 2023, I became commissioner-elect. So I was fortunate. I had 6 months to engage with the industry, to engage with stakeholders, and start talking about why is insurance so expensive in our state? Why is insurance unattractive for companies to want to come and write their product, offer their product in our state? Why are claims so much more expensive in the state of Louisiana versus neighboring states, or pretty much any other state in America? And so when I became commissioner on the 8th, we started off, we had a package of bills. We had had conversations with the stakeholders. We didn't have to wait until then. We started looking at the session, and we brought a package of bills that was designed to address the crisis. Some of it on the property side, the other on the auto, on the liability side. And I can tell you, we had support of the governor, we had support of the legislature, we got every property bill passed that we asked for. Doesn't mean I'm done asking, by the way. We're going to continue to refine and improve our state and make it more attractive. But I think everybody in this room appreciates the fact that insurance companies do not have to do business in the state of Louisiana. There's no law that compels them to. So we have to attract capital. We have to attract companies. The 3 ways to do that from an insurance perspective is through regulation, the regulatory environment, and as the regulator for the Department of Insurance in Louisiana, I have changed that. We've modified that. You've got the legal environment. Again, I mentioned earlier, we passed substantial, meaningful property bills that are designed to make Louisiana more attractive. And then there's the actual physical risk, the properties that these insurance companies want to write off, whether it's your residential or commercial. And so we're working with the Building Code Council. We're working with the inspectors. We've got a fortified roof program, which I think many of you have heard about. And if you haven't, go to the department website, ldi.la.gov. We, the taxpayers, are funding fortified roofs right now in the state of Louisiana. You can go and you can become an applicant. You can get a grant to put a fortified roof on. But if you don't want to go that route, if you don't want to wait, if you want to put it on yourself, you want to pay for it yourself, you can get a tax deduction up to $5,000. I'm going to ask the legislature to increase that to $10,000 this coming year. But you can get a deduction to put a fortified roof on yourself if you choose. So we brought all these bills, and you're asking, okay, great, what does that mean? Right? Everybody always wants to know how fast is change going to take. Well, we didn't get here overnight. We're not going to get out of this crisis overnight, but we are going to get out of it. Companies are coming back to Louisiana. Companies that were offering other products, not homeowners, not property, have filed policy forms to start offering property in Louisiana. So it is taking effect. It is changing. Florida had one hurricane in 2021, Hurricane Ian. They had 4 special sessions to address their insurance crisis. It took about 18 months before they started seeing the fruits of that labor, before companies started coming back. Today, Florida has 11 new companies writing over 1 million policies in their state. Policyholders in Florida, for the first time in years, are seeing their rates not only plateau, but actually decrease. So it does work. It takes time. And I certainly understand that many people don't feel like they have that time. They're looking at that homeowner's premium, trying to figure out, how do I afford this? What do I cut back? Do I buy less fuel? Do I buy less groceries? Do I buy less medication? I understand people are stressed financially, but it is going to take time, and it is going to get better. I've had many conversations with insurance companies, reinsurance companies, to make sure that the changes that we are impacting here in Louisiana are the ones that they want to see, so that companies come back to Louisiana, so that reinsurance costs come down, and that savings is realized by us as consumers.
Coastal restoration we have been working on coastal restoration here in Louisiana for a number of years. And I'm proud to say that when we go to these national conferences and we talk about coastal restoration, we're light years ahead of other states. And so I've always felt good that we're number one on the good list, because we've done so much work throughout Louisiana, throughout the coastline, throughout parishes that are affected by the coast. The BP oil spill hit in 2010. We were able to get some funding from that spill. That money's going to probably kind of peter out in the next couple years, and so we're looking for alternative sources of revenue so that we can continue the hard work we put in on our coast and just protecting it for the citizens of Louisiana.
Well, coastal erosion takes a lot of money. To get coastal erosion big attention, we need federal dollars, and our delegation up north is definitely working on getting some of that money. It's not anything cheap. It's very expensive. So they got money funneling down. We just need to keep the foot on the pedal and make sure that money keep coming.
Well, we're about an hour away from Cameron, Louisiana, which is on the coast, and I think they're losing up to a football field in the whole area a year. So that is a lot of coastal erosion that is being taken away from storms and hurricanes and everything.
What needs to happen?
I think we need to do something like putting rocks down or some kind of barrier before it hits the land, some kind of reefs or some things like that before it hits the land. So that way it hits the reefs and slow it down a little bit.
I think we're losing something like maybe 10,000 feet a year or something like that, even more maybe, with erosion. But we're working on that. We got some different projects that we're doing, like the Ocean projects, and we got another project where we're padding to kind of stop some of the erosion. And we're doing some dredging near the coast and stuff, and building some levees and stuff to help with that, to try to eliminate that. And also other types of little projects that we got going on. We're working with CRIPA a lot, and they came on the table, and they're doing a lot in the parish. It's not costing a whole lot like in the past. We have built a relationship with them, and they're coming in, engineering a lot of things and doing a lot of things themselves, which is a great help.
I do think that the state continues to move in the right direction as it relates to coastal restoration. So what I would like to see happen is just that we continue this momentum that we've built in the way of coastal restoration.
Coastal restoration is extremely important. However, we've been very fortunate in my parish. We do a lot of dredging. We've been doing a lot of land reclaiming. We pump millions and millions of acres of sand back into tons of sand back onto our coastline that we've been gaining land, and vegetation has really taken off. We got a superb director who handles our port commission, who's really on top of getting the erosion under control for us.
Coastal restoration is critical to what's going on in my parish, Iberia Parish. Currently, we're building flood control structures. We're working with CPRA. CPRA is amazing. They have their stuff together. So we simply try to work with them and make sure that we're in line with the master plan that they currently have. Things are going we have a lot of coastal work that needs to be done in this state.
Who would have thought that we would be dealing with solar and wind energy here in Louisiana? We've been so dependent on oil and gas for so long, and using that to actually, provide electricity and stuff for our people. But now that we have, this demand for alternative energies, we are working with companies right now to place solar projects in their particular in parishes throughout Louisiana, and we're also doing some work on wind with Representative Joe Orgeron from Lafourche Parish, and even getting into that space as well. Just want to make sure we do it right.
There are a few projects, some solar fields that they're looking at putting in the northwest corner of our parish, and that's going to be very beneficial because it's going to be able to bring in some new companies that rely on that.
We've got one solar project that's probably going to be online in a month or so, 2 months. And we have a couple others that are looking. We're also, we have a lake, and I'm not sure how the wind will work there, but I'm kind of a big advocate in the idea that it's all of the ways of creating energy. There's always drawbacks of how they do it. I'd love to see the ability to have a new power plant in Tangipahoa Parish. So we're looking at all the opportunities that we have.
We would definitely love to see more alternative energy in our area. We have just had some solar panels that were just in our area, that maybe 2 or 3 farms that just come to our area that we just voted on. Actually, is helping us a lot in more of our rural areas. So we have some people that had the opportunity to come to give us alternative energy for the Ouachita Parish area.
The 2.4 million square foot facility that we're building is actually for solar panels. They manufacture solar panels there. We have another facility that's being built. It's a little bit over $100 million facility, and they're taking bag ash and converting that into pellets, which is creating energy that they're sending that overseas. We have a lot of creative things going on right now in our parish.
Where I live in the south central Louisiana, we have 6 solar projects that are currently being looked at, and several of them, 3 of them are potentially going to be built, and then there's also two wind projects that are on the south end of our parish that are being looked at as well.
I am a proponent of the solar and the wind, the panels that address the needs for our citizens. We understand that we must do everything to save our economy, and that is through renewable sources.
We have a lot of the solar panels coming. They're not there yet, but they're being questioned. They're looking at land, and of course we'll have residents that's fighting, and people are loving it. But that's one of the things we're looking at. It's going to be coming.
We're looking at some of those. We just pulled up to the council last week a resolution doing an ordinance on solar farms. So we are looking at those possibilities.
3-4 months ago when I came to y'all and we talked about some of the work that we wanted to do in that session. And really and truly, it was absolutely remarkable how much we were able to accomplish in a very, very short period of time. And you know what? It took a lot of trust in you all. I could see it in your faces, to be able to rely on me, to be able to do those things that we promised that we were going to do. And I believe that we kept those promises by and large. And we have an exciting time. Now, that is only going to be predicated is if we pass that constitutional amendment on March 29th. I can't tell you how important it is that y'all help us make sure. I'm certainly, any of y'all got teachers in the family? Raise your hand. Yeah, y'all better go vote. Those teachers have a raise built into that amendment. And I'm going to tell you that is very important. And then for seniors, it's very important as well because we doubled the state of deduction. There's all kind of great benefits inside of it. And it also, besides lowering the income tax, besides giving us a path to be able to create some opportunities that we start to ensure that the revenue, we got the cap in there. We're lifting that cap on the severance for those parishes that have oil and gas. And then, of course, that would transcend into some of the carbon sequestration model as well, right? Because that's an issue for some local governments and parishes as well, so parish councils and police jurors. And so I want you to know that amendment and those things that we did always had an eye on trying to make your job easier and to improve the economic and the financial and fiscal stability of the parish governments. This is all about trying to decentralize some of the responsibilities out there. And look, you see it being done at the federal level. So what you're seeing is a trend. I tell people all the time, you could be the greatest surfer in the world, and if there's no waves, it don't matter, right? Well, I'm going to tell you something. If we were some surfers, there are plenty of great waves out there right now for us to catch and do some things that you never would have an opportunity to do. So those of y'all that have been in parish government for a long time and who have been frustrated, these are the times under which you have an opportunity to exercise some of those demons you were so frustrated with all those years. And that amendment, again,
is the door. It's not the panacea. It doesn't fix everything, but it makes it so much easier for us to fix those things. And my vision is that, again, at the end of the day, we give y'all the opportunity to be able to raise the revenue necessary for you to be able to provide those services necessary for your constituents. I consistently believe that governing closest to the people governs the best. You know what your people need much better than Baton Rouge does. And it is a pain in the you-know-what to be able to have to come up here and beg those legislators to understand exactly what is important in your particular area. Now, hopefully your senator and your representative responds to your needs, but then you got to go ahead and convince everybody else what that particular need is. Everything we're doing is being predicated on that. It really is. And we saw tangible results. We saw the rankings go from 42 to 26 at the Tax Foundation right away. We saw the spotlight that we were able to shine to the rest of the country, that Louisiana is open for business. We see a new economy that's being created inside of America, where we're seeing more domestic manufacturing being included in the United States. We see the policies that now in this new White House, they want to bring jobs back to America. We have an opportunity to catch that like no other. We really, really do. Look, we've been working real closely with our local governments to make them feel like this is a partnership between the state and the local governments. I mean, we worked real hard, especially during the tax reform session, with them to make sure that they understood that the key to making Louisiana successful is to make sure that our local governments are healthy and that there's not a lot of friction between the Capitol here and them. And so, look, we look forward to continuing the great relationship that we built over the last 12 months. And we've seen some great economic wins. We've seen some great educational wins. We've seen some great wins on the public safety side. All of those things transcend success for our local governments and our local communities.
We're excited about the new administration and our relationship with that administration. Governor Landry comes from a long line of people throughout his area that have cared about what was going on a local perspective, and has really opened the door for us and gave us a seat at the table when we're talking about important issues. And we've had a good, long-standing relationship with every governor that has served here in Louisiana, and we're just excited that things seem to be moving forward pretty fast, and that's how we like to move. We want to make sure we do things right. He seems to have our best interests at heart, and we've worked with him on legislation just last year during the special session, the tax session. We were really involved in the conversations as we move Louisiana forward. So just looking forward to continuing that relationship throughout his term.
Well, the governor made commitments when he was running to help with the local government to make sure that we were kept whole, and he's continued to keep that commitment, even go above and beyond to make sure we have input, to make sure that we're included in the conversation, and we really appreciate that. And it's not just the governor's office; all of our state elected officials are doing a good job with that, and all of the governor's staff across the board. All of his appointees and the secretaries and commissioners that he appoints are all working very well with us, and we really appreciate that.
Obviously, we're thrilled. Governor Landry is a really good friend to North Louisiana. He's been up with a big data center announcement over Richland Parish, metadata, and he's been supporting a lot of our projects with the particular Cyber Innovation Center in Bossier Parish. We have a lot of opportunity, a lot of things fixing to break our way, and the governor and his entire administration has been tremendously helpful and supportive of all of our efforts.
It's very important for us to continue those and cultivate those relationships with our local and state government, to have an open door where we can address the issues that our citizens are facing. We do that through resolutions. We do that through the police jury to make sure that whatever their needs are, that they are being addressed through our current administration. We have a great working relationship, and it is bipartisan. We're going to make sure that we continue to have those open conversations and do the best for our citizens.
Between state government and local government, it feels like we are getting more say in what's going on, especially through the Police Jury Association, where they're considering us and the mandates that they're putting down onto the local governments, and that's more helpful for the local government because we have some say in the game.
It's very important to us because we have no way of meeting our matches, and we need the funding for our area because all of the time we don't have the monies to get and take care of the needs that we have to take care of. So state funding is very important to us.
For Ouachita Parish, we have an awesome relationship with our new administration, with our government. I believe all of our senators, all of our state representatives, along with our local government, all of us have an awesome relationship with this current governor, this current administration, and we work very well together. We are having an opportunity to get more resources up north. There have been times that the north portion of Louisiana have not been getting their fair share of needs from the state, but now we are booming. We're moving higher. We're getting more than we have ever have gotten. And this administration that we have now will assure that we'll get more coming forward.
And women's participation in political leadership is more prominent than ever. Today in 2025, women hold a record number of 151 seats in the U.S. Congress, making up 29% of the House and 25% of the Senate. The Supreme Court currently has 4 female justices, the most ever to serve at one time. Susie Wiles made history this year as the first female House Chief of Staff. White House Chief of Staff, sorry. In Louisiana, Liz Murrell became the first female Attorney General, and Nancy Landry became the first elected female Secretary of State. The Louisiana legislature now includes 34 women, making up 24% of the elected body. At the federal level, Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware and Angela Also Brooks of Maryland were elected to the U.S. Senate in 2024, making the first time for 2 black women have ever served in the chamber simultaneously. Internationally, Claudia Sheinbaum, was elected as Mexico's first female president. These milestones highlight the expanding role of women in politics and their impact on shaping policy at every level. Women are not only at the table, but are taking on key leadership roles and influencing policies at all levels and the direction of our country and beyond.
Women get stuff done, so we really need to see a representation of what the population is in the country and in the state when it comes to the elected officials. And we're not well represented still, but it's growing in numbers slowly. But women really just bring a different perspective to the table when we're elected.
What is your advice to women that may be a little hesitant about getting involved?
Do it. Let your heart guide you, and just do the work, and don't have an ego about it. Just get it done, and all will come to you. So,
time and time again, I've heard the stat that women have to be asked, 5 or 6 times to run for office and say, hey, you can do it. So I think for most women, the message is just, take the jump. Don't wait your turn. If you feel like that you're ready to serve and you have a great area that you can represent and have expertise, then just jump in. You never know what can happen. And I think that, women obviously can be very successful in politics and bring a different perspective. Sometimes it maybe is not there. So just do it, jump in and do it.
I think now more than ever, we have a lot of women in politics and a lot of women at the table helping to guide policy. And so in this time in Louisiana, where we're in this wonderful time of rebirth, I think now is a great time for women to get involved and to have their voices be heard as we reshape the future of Louisiana.
Talk about what's going on today in agriculture, everything from trade, to avian influenza and everything in between, about commodity prices. But looking forward, the greatest opportunities we've ever had for Louisiana and American agriculture. Well, we're an agricultural state, and we're a maritime state. So agriculture and exports, all of that is tied up together, and the world desperately needs our commodities. The world is continuing to consume more commodities than it's producing, and we can produce commodities to sell to them. So that's what the message is. And then again, all agricultural policy starts at the local level.
Today I'm here to talk about roads and bridges and transportation infrastructure and how that affects local jurisdictions, particularly police juries. The goal of DOTD is have a safe and efficient transportation system, and so that is my primary focus. We have historically been a little bit underfunded, and so would like to increase our funding levels so that we can do a better job at making sure that the folks of Louisiana have the transportation systems that they deserve.
We're here to talk about the environment, what we're doing at DEQ, where you can have clean air and water and at the same time have healthy and vibrant economies and industry. The efforts that we have at DEQ are focused on looking at our regulations that ensure that we have clean water. We know that we're regulating the businesses. That's why we have our environmental assessments where we're going out into the field. We have assessments, we have surveys, and that information that we use to go into our permits. And those are the guidelines that are given to industry for their operations. And so we know that you can have a balanced approach because we're looking at sound science, we're looking at the rule of law, and then there's a thing called common sense when you put all of that together.
A voice in this process. Office of Rural Development, and it's important to try to bring economic development to the rural areas of our state and to make sure that they understand opportunities for funding for infrastructure projects that they have and need.
What kind of progress have you seen so far?
Well, we got a $10 million grant from the federal government for transportation needs in rural Louisiana and also for opportunities for job education.
The topic of our workshop today is Parks and Recreation in the state of Louisiana.
Tell us about Louisiana's park system.
Louisiana State Park System is one of the best and fastest growing park systems in the country. We have 21 state parks, 18 historic sites, had 500 hardworking men and women that put our park system together every day. We have over 45,000 acres of property, which is the first time ever we can say that state parks has officially crossed 2 million visitors for the state of Louisiana.
Our work today is LIDACOR, the Louisiana Infrastructure Technical Assistance Corporation. It's a nonprofit that's co-owned by the Police Jury Association and the Municipal Association. Our mission is to help rural communities access federal dollars. It's very exciting because I'm from a rural community and I know firsthand how federal dollars bypass those rural communities.
What kind of results have you seen so far?
Well, so far we've been able to obtain about just over $12 million in awards. We've applied on behalf of these rural communities $250 million. So we're excited to wait and see what that result is. But that's going to be a huge impact for the rural communities who would not have asked before. And on top of that, a third of the communities that we work with have not been applying for federal funds at all. So this is huge.
Hey folks, Vinny Theingar. I run the broadband office for the state of Louisiana. That's focused on giving everybody an update on where things are with broadband. On January 13th, we were federally approved with a lot of our broadband funds specific to IJA. The governor had a big announcement, and so we're now in the process of signing grant agreements with a bunch of companies, and they're going to start to execute over now in the next 2 years. And so we look forward to 140,000 more households and small businesses receiving internet as quickly and efficiently as possible. If Texas is always the barometer, we're probably 15 months ahead of Texas. In terms of other states, we're significantly further ahead than other states. The governor indicated in a letter that he sent to the feds on January 22nd that we're close to putting shovels in the ground in the first 100 days of this year. So we're cranking. We need to get stuff going. We need to get people internet, and we need to get these companies to break ground as quickly as possible.
The workshop here today is to talk about some of the things that our department is doing, primarily around the development of carbon capture, utilization, and storage, and how we're going to be permitting that process through the agency going forward. So one of the biggest issues that we have is to understand the geology and the leak paths that come along with that, which is why the permitting process itself involves identifying and sealing that and creating a safe environment in which they can be disposed of permanently, safely.
Confirm someone's information, we will place them on the inactive list.
Well, I'm here today to speak at one of the breakout sessions on elections, and the message that I'm going to give is just an update on what we've accomplished in my first year in office, and an update on the new voting system that we hope to get this year.
And tell us, what would that mean for voters?
So for voters, we'll be getting a new system. We hope we'll have a contract in place by the end of the year, Our current system is really safe and secure, and people like it, and it's easy to use, but it's over 30 years old, and we're having trouble getting parts for our machines now. And so we need to get a new machine, and we are getting one that has a paper component, so it will have a way for a voter to verify the accuracy of their vote, and a way for us to conduct risk-limiting audits after the election, so it'll be a fully auditable system.
Our workshop today here is with the Police Jury Association, and what it deals with is how all the agencies can come together in support of each other. For our mechanism as GOSEP is we perform a valuable service in the community where we provide emergency preparedness and homeland security across all parishes. So it's good for us to be here.
What is your recommendation to parishes around Louisiana as we move into the spring and the summer seasons?
Well, the first thing is to always do what they do. We're pretty fortunate that we're in with every parish every month, all of our regions, and in every quarter we meet with all the state agencies. So from our standpoint at GOSEP, if you need something where you need help, please ask us.
What's your advice to the public?
The public is to listen to those local officials. There's nobody that knows better, particularly in emergency preparedness and homeland security, than your local officials.
We're going to be talking a little bit about the mission and vision of the agency that we have right now. Our goal is to become the premier sportsman organization in the state. Every day, my team and I work towards doing that, whether it's rebranding the agency as a whole or just prioritizing working with the sportsmen of Louisiana and working on their missions that they set out for us.
What potential does this have moving into the future?
You know, we're really excited about it. We've expanded some of our biggest programs, whether it's our black bear hunting season, shark regulations, as well as we're working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife on a black belly whistling duck season, and we're also looking at revamping a lot of our IT projects and our websites and a lot of the great things that we have going on right now.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kenny Hammond,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and bylaws
I will support the Constitution and bylaws
of the Police Jury Association
of the Police Jury Association
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge and perform
and I will faithfully discharge and perform
all duties incumbent upon me
all duties incumbent upon me
as executive board members
as executive board members
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, you are now our new board. Vice President, now moving up to second Vice President, Mr. Doug Rimmer. It says in recognition and appreciation of dedicated services and leadership as our third Vice President for 2024. All right. Our second Vice President, moving up now to Vice President, presented to Mr. Robbie Miller in recognition and appreciation of his dedicated services and leadership as second Vice President for 2024. Thank you. Mr. Craig Smith, in your recognition and service as our first Vice President of the Police Jury Association 2024-2025. All right, Kenny, why don't you do your farewell remarks, and then I'll swear Craig in.
All right, here's the time we all been waiting for, my farewell. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. The last 13 months or so have truly been a great experience. To be president of the Police Jury Association is an honor and a privilege because this truly is a great organization, and it's an extended family, as we've heard here today. I want to first thank God for this opening the doors to allow me to get this position. The time has allowed me to reflect on my police jury career over the last few weeks as I started writing this. As I mentioned last year in my acceptance speech, the vision of becoming a police juror began one day when I was very young, riding my Yamaha 125 Breeze down a public road. For years I had listened to my dad gripe about the police jury and how they were not doing things right. So when the opportunity to run and have a chance of being successful arose, I jumped at it. It's amazing some of the things we can recall, but I remember I had an aunt pass away that summer, and at the funeral, Melvin, who had been a police juror for years, said he had heard that I was running and asked me if I really was. He probably thought, like many did, that young boy ain't got a chance, he's going to get hammered in that election. Fast forward 12 years or so, and that same Melvin was asking me to run for Region 8 Executive Board. Fast forward another couple of years, and Mr. Glenn Benton is calling me up and asking me to run for 3rd Vice President. Fast forward a few more years, and here I am giving up my presidency. As I started writing this farewell address, I first thought about myself as like a 4-H project. You know, a 4-H project steer, you fatten it up, you pamper it for a year, and then what happens? You get the blue ribbon, and then you get sent out to pasture to finish off, and then they slaughter you. But today I want to consider my last 13 months as like a moon. I want you to think of yourself as a moon. Think about the moon. It's one of God's amazing creations. So instead of, our life is like phases in the moon. We have phases, and over the last 13 months, it's been a phase in my life. Just like the moon goes through phases, so do each of us as elected officials. We go through our own phases. Sometimes we're the bright light, and sometimes we wane, just like the moon's appearance in the sky. But you know an interesting fact about the moon? Even though it's far away, it exerts powerful influence over the tides. It's a marvelous creation. So as I bid farewell as president, I want to remind each and every one of you as elected officials, be a moon. You are special. You're important. Be a moon. Keep serving your people. Never forget your people. Yes, some of our constituents will criticize us. They'll get on social media and bash us, and some will even do it to our face. But I want to leave you with this story. It says, the moon keeps shining. The story is told of a judge who had been frequently ridiculed by a conceited lawyer. When asked by a friend why he didn't rebuke his assailant, he replied, in our town lives a widow who has a dog, and whenever the moon shines, it goes outside and it barks all night long. Having said that, the magistrate shifted the conversation into another subject. Finally, someone asked, but Judge, what about the dog and the moon? Oh, the moon just kept on shining, that's all. So even though we're going to be criticized, keep on shining. There will be some that will bark at us, and yes, there will be some, and yes, we all have our imperfections, and we're not perfect. But keep on being a moon, keep on shining. And thank y'all. Thank my wife, my son Jace, my family's here. My family, stand up. My wife. And everybody from Vernon Parish, stand up. All of these people have just come forth and done so much over the past year to make last night a success, to make this convention a success, and of course, the office staff of the Police Jury Association, y'all stand up. Okay. These people work tirelessly for you and for Guy, and they make things happen. So thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. And it's something I will always cherish. Thank y'all.
I, Craig Smith,
I, Craig Smith,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and bylaws
that I will support the Constitution and bylaws
of the Police Jury Association
of the Police Jury Association
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and the Constitution and laws of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge and perform
and I will faithfully discharge and perform
all the duties incumbent upon me
all the duties incumbent upon me
as President of the Police Jury Association,
as President of the Police Jury Association,
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, brother. Thank you, Kim. Your comments are yours, buddy. He's going to come up.
Thank y'all. First, I'd like to thank the past president, Mr. Kenny Hayman, and his team for organizing such a fantastic convention this year. It's truly a privilege for me, and I'm honored to be your 26th Police Jury Association of Louisiana president. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone for your support that has allowed me this wonderful opportunity. I thank God for his continued guidance. It's because of his direction that I am standing here today. We must value faith, believe in the power of prayer, and then success will follow. I want to thank my wife, Kim, my son, Quentin, my daughter, my daughter-in-law, and my grandchildren that's here with me today for supporting me as I continue to serve the public. I would like to thank my fellow jurors and my staff for following me along the way, supporting me in my adventures, and I greatly appreciate y'all. I look forward to serving the Police Jury Association with leadership, professionalism, and unity. It makes me proud to be a member of this organization, such a great staff. Executive Director Guy Cormier continues to grow our presence in Baton Rouge as well as NACO with a powerful team and is always just a phone call away. I would like to extend my congratulations to the newly elected Executive Board members today, and I'm excited to serve as your president for the next year. We will work together with our governor, our legislative delegation, so that we can be part of one team, one dream, one Louisiana, a new Louisiana. Thank you.
Resolution in memoriam. Whereas the members of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana, with great sorrow and deep sense of loss, take cognizance of the absence of our fellow members who have been taken by death since the last annual convention of our association. And whereas these members have rendered innumerable public services to their respective district and parish, and to the state of Louisiana, and to the people thereof. And whereas the absence of these outstanding citizens to the public service is keenly felt as a great personal loss to their family, friends, and colleagues. Therefore, be it resolved by the Police Jury Association of Louisiana in convention and duly assembled in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this 14th day of February 2025, that the association does hereby pay tribute to the memory of Robert Bob Brotherton from Bossier Parish, Jason Croquette from Morehouse Parish, Kenneth Dye from Morehouse Parish, and Tony Tremonti from Calcasieu Parish, and does hereby express for its members and citizens of the state their sense of gratitude for their achievements and contributions to the public good of their local areas and to the state, and be it further resolved that when this association adjoins its 2025 annual convention, it does so out of respect and in memory of our departed colleagues, Bob Brotherton, Jason Crockett, Kenneth Dye, and Tony Tremonti. This resolution, adopted by unanimous vote of the members of the Police Jury Association of Louisiana, this 14th day of February 2025, in convention and duly assembled in the city of Baton Rouge.
We sadly lost a dear friend to this association and former President Bob Brotherton. If you knew Mr. Bob, you knew he was a man who just enjoyed life and spent his entire life in public service. He was a football coach, cared about his community, and when he retired, decided to elect himself to the police jury in Bossier Parish. His wife, Miss Billy Jo, is with us today, and also is a public servant serving on a school board. So if you needed something in Bossier Parish, and it was school-related, road or drainage-related, you had to go to the Brothersons. Mr. Bob was a wonderful man, and he's probably we were talking amongst ourselves just lately. I don't know when the last time we lost a sitting board member. And this is what I'll always remember about Mr. Bob. I think it speaks volumes. When he was president in 2019, he was dealing with sickness. And at every region meeting, and a lot of you attended, he would get up and say, "Thank you all for coming. Thank you for what you do, but I have a special request. I want us to all be praying for Chance Robinson, who was Scotty Robinson's son, who is fighting and battling leukemia. Mr. Bob didn't care about how he felt every time he said it. He never asked us to vote for him, to pray for him. He made that whole year about trying to help somebody else through prayer. And so as I look at this video that's kind of going through, and I'm just going to miss my friend. Miss Billy Jo, why don't you please stand so we can give you a round of applause. We love you dearly. We buried Mr. Bob about a month ago, and went to the funeral, and I visited with the family. He was so proud of his kids and grandkids, and Ms. Billy Jo told me right then and there, she grabbed me by the arm and she said, "Make sure I still have a room in Baton Rouge, because I want to be amongst my family." And so thank you, Mr. Glenn and Ms. Pat Benton, for picking her up and bringing her with us. And I think the highlight of this week for me is seeing you here, Ms. Billy Jo. Local government provides more services to the average everyday citizen than any other governing authority. And so at the end of the day, people need to know who their police juror is, who their parish president is, who their parish councilman is, because there's so many things out there that we can probably help with, but you got to know who those people are. And we're here to help. We're here to assist those elected officials throughout Louisiana to make sure that we can provide those services for the citizen every day.
How can people get more information?
I guess the best way to catch us is on the web, lpgov.org, Louisiana, or just Google us, Police Jury Association of Louisiana, and we look forward to just working with everyone and make sure that we get things right.